Hi friendies, and thank you for clicking on this video. This is my trashy makeup. It's sloppy but kinda 60s inspired, futuristic. Anyways, hate all you want, I don't care. And this video is gonna be my thoughts on new releases, new makeup releases from a no-buy perspective. So kind of like an anti-haul, but should there be any things that I actually want, I will of course mention them. So the first release that I'm going to talk about is Tarte Icy Betch. Yes, that infamous April Fool's joke, but gone wrong. First of all, what is that giant ass white thing? Secondly, those pen sizes and how they arranged are disturbing everybody. Tarte, you're disturbing everybody. Stop. And this just looks ugly, but that's not the point, I guess. A lot of people would say too little too late about this release, and I agree. But if they release that in the original format of Tarte Tartelette, the original palette that they teased us with on April Fool's, a lot of people would have bought it, and I personally would have put it in my no-buy wish list if I see that Tarte is leaning towards inclusivity in their releases nowadays. But that's just that's just not good. Also, some neighbor's dog is going crazy. I guess it just misses the owner. So we're not gonna hate on a dog, are we? So this release is a huge flop for me. It looks ugly. I don't like the size of the palette, let alone the pans. I don't like anything. Another release that I feel like talking about is, of course, Urban Decay and Game of Thrones collaboration. When they first sneak peeked the idea that they will be collaborating with the brand, I was like, God, I hope I don't want it because I'm on a no-buy. I thought, hopefully it will be bad, so I won't be tempted. But then I thought, it's Urban Decay. Of course, I will not want it in the first place. Of course, it will be bad. I was sure they were gonna screw this up, and from my personal perspective, I was right. Because this just, the palette doesn't look good. And that's what I thought. Whenever they had any collabs in the past, the palettes looked kind of freaky, like Alice through the looking glass and whatnot. But let's focus on more details. As always, I have my notes. So, color choices are all wrong for the houses and the shades and everything. The shade in the palette that's literally called Lannister Red, they have a warm brown. For the shade that's called Lannister, just Lannister, they have a light nude pink color. How is Lannister nude pink? How is Lannister red brown? Two main colors that are associated with Lannisters are gold and red, bright blood red. Not nude pink, not warm brown. Okay? The shade that is called Red Keep is bronze. Does that make sense? because it has red in the name. Like, I get it that Red Cape is like a capital, and they have like those guards that wear bronze. But I don't think that the creators of the palette dug that deep. Like, Red Cape, what colors do the guards wear in Red Cape? Like, they have the white capes, they also wear bronze. We'll just make it bronze then. I'm sure they didn't think about the correlations at all. Collection, let's leave the palette alone. I think the highlighter palette is kind of cute. The brushes are kind of cute, the ones that have like those little swords, but the brushes cost $30 each. $30 per brush, that's crazy. That's expensive. Basically, hopefully soon brands like Shop Hush and AliExpress store owners will come out with something similar, but Shop Hush no longer delivers internationally, so we're doing that, Shop Hush. But yeah, the brushes are cute. $30 a brush. The that thing that looks kind of like a blood, like in a little potion, little bottle, that's cute, but I'm not even sure what that is. Something that I want to add is that if you're also a Game of Thrones fan, just like me, you don't have to buy this. You don't have to buy that just because of the novelty aspect to it, just because you want to have something Game of Thrones, just because you want to feel that connection to the whole theme. What I'm suggesting is that you can just get a regular magnetic eyeshadow palette. This is the one from Shop Musée. This has blushes in it, but you can just get your single shadows or depot your palettes if you're into depotting and rearrange them the way you like. Create a unique color story, or get inspired from your favorite TV show or movie or anything like Game of Thrones. And then you can just like find some art of it or a picture or something, print it and stick it on the magnetic palette, and you will create your own Game of Thrones eyeshadow palette, or eyeshadow palette for any fandom or a book or movie that you want. You can put some stickers instead or whatnot. Maybe that will look like a child art, but that's something that I actually want to do, maybe not with Game of Thrones, but with some other shows. But yeah, you can create that whole thing at home. Another gimmick I want to talk about is that Real Techniques released some new sponges, and one of them is the glittery sponge. It's just a regular sponge, matte, pink, whatever, but with those little specks of glitter. And when you touch it and squeeze it, you have specks of glitter on your hand. And I hate glitter specks on my hand. So that's dumb and gimmicky. Something that I also want to talk about, that there is amazing Ukrainian makeup artist. Her Instagram handle is @Zola has actually her own makeup line, and she had the glittery sponge, the same sponge, the matte one, which transfers the glitter specks on your hand. I don't know, maybe some other brands like AliExpress or something, maybe those had those glittery sponges before, but I only saw them at Zola Makeup Instagram. But yeah, Real Techniques are not the pioneers with that one, but nevertheless, the sponge is extremely gimmicky, and hopefully no other brands continue with this silly trend. Another thing that I want to talk about is something that's happened with the brand Menagerie Cosmetics. They sneak peeked their new Whale Song eyeshadow palette, and then they actually have written in their Instagram a post. They said that they feel a lack of support from their followers and customers. They feel like they're not getting enough support, and they have to cancel the whole Whale Song idea because of that. And basically, how they're feeling defeated. They're saying they have 25,000 followers, but maybe that doesn't necessarily reflect on their sales, or they don't feel enough support, and they can't order a big batch for the Whale Song palette because they feel like it will not sell out or something. And that post caused quite a lot of reaction. Some people were very sympathetic towards the brand, and they were willing to show more support for them to feel better. And some of the people were more critical of that because basically people don't owe you anything. People don't have to buy your products to support you. Your customers don't owe you anything. And Menagerie Cosmetics is actually one of the indie brands that gets talked quite a lot about on YouTube, especially among the YouTubers that I love and watch, like Angelica, Nyqvist, Lacey from Spooky Lips and Fat Hips, Fenty Beauty, and a lot of others. A lot of people supported them and got their previous eyeshadow palettes, so I don't think it's necessarily true that this brand doesn't get a lot of support, because I can physically see that they do. I mean, it's like your money, you work for them. Are you gonna buy something just out of pity for the brand, not because you really want something? I'm not sure. Some people thought like you really shouldn't really beg for sales, and I feel like nevertheless, I feel like the concept is really cute. The Whale Song reminds me of the movie Big Miracle with Kristen Bell, John Krasinski, and Drew Barrymore. It's a very cute movie. I recommend it to everyone. And the color story of whales and the Whale Song is like something blue and greenish for like the sea and everything. That's a very trendy color story right now, so I feel like that could be a successful palette. But what they're showing to us is like a photoshopped version, because we can't really see right now how the pans will look in real life. Like for example, that beautiful duochrome with holographic glare, which is like the first shade or something. I have no idea how that will look in real life. So I guess I'm kind of curious, but after the support and the reaction that Menagerie Cosmetics got, they announced that they will be able to release a small batch of palettes, and if you want, you can pre-order it right now. Another new release that I'm going to focus on today is that Fenty Beauty is releasing new bronzers, blushes, and highlighters. So they show the swatches of the bronzers on different skin tones and like this, and actually some of the bronzers on the darker skin tones didn't create as much of the contrast or didn't seem that deep, and looked like the bronzers weren't actually dark enough for the deeper skin tones existing. But then people were like, it's a bronzer, it doesn't really have to create that deepening effect. It's supposed to just add some warmth to your skin tone. So I'm not exactly sure how that will turn out, but it will be interesting to see some reviews from YouTubers with a deeper skin tones, like for example Nima Tang. Another thing that Fenty Beauty released is a new blush called Geisha Chic Hunny. and that also caused quite a reaction. First of all, I don't get the combinations of those three words: Geisha, Chic, Hunny. Honey. So like the word honey kind of refers to our now popular drag queen community. RuPaul's Drag Race is very popular now, and we all love the beautiful drag queens there on YouTube as well. So there's that. But Geisha, Chic, I don't feel like those three words make any sense together necessarily. Some representatives of the Asian community have found that to be cultural appropriation, because the Western culture has been milking geishas and their image for their profit. They have been kind of distorting the whole thing and basically highlighting the most stereotypical trends and traits of some cultural trend or cultural situation, using it for their own gain. And that's essentially what cultural appropriation is. Secondly, if you're representative of a majority of a white race, you are not really in the position to dictate people of color or representatives of other cultures how they should feel about certain things. You're not in the position to say what's cultural appropriation and what's not if you're not a representative of that culture, and you can't really see the whole picture. So Asian people think that the West is kind of distorting the whole concept and image of geishas and picturing them as some kind of prostitutes, which they never were. And as I said, highlighting the stereotypical traits, not seeing the whole picture, and milking it for their profit. So the whole thing is incredibly distasteful, especially in the context that is not the first example of Rihanna showing racist, insensitive behavior towards Asians and people of Asian descent. And Fenty Beauty is actually a brand which I don't support, and it's not in our Sephora's anyway, and I'm not sure if you can even order it internationally, but I'm not gonna try because I don't support that brand. Maybe sometime later I will do a video about brands that I don't support, but there is that about this release. I guess that's gonna be it for today. Thank you very much for watching, for staying with me. Hopefully I will see you in my next video.